What's up, folks? Wes Pruitt, 4-Star Sports Media. Hope everyone's doing well. You were sitting down at the Sports Buffet, 9 a.m., actually 9:02 a.m., on August 14th, 2024. Got another plate for you today as we talk a little bit of golf, as there is a certain little St. Jude golf tournament going on there in Memphis. Then we will talk, we will get into Sorry, my computer decided it wanted to freak out for a second. We will talk golf. Then we'll after golf, we'll get into the NFL preseason. We'll look at a surprise and disappointing team, and then we'll look at the upcoming schedule for the weekend. When we get to college football, we'll talk a little Ouachita Baptist as we continue to yak about the GAC as we talk Great American Conference, and then we'll get into James Madison and UTSA before we finish up with our list of the day, and that is the top 5 Heisman winners that you would want to spend a day with. All that and more. John Stardewitt's in the house as well, right here on the Sports Buffet, presented to you by 4-Star Sports Media. This computer is being slow. I'm sorry, folks. Let's get into it. All right, folks, welcome into the show. Appreciate everybody tuning in today. It is Wednesday, the 14th of August, and it's going to be a fun show. Going to be another plate full as well. Let's go ahead and get started with our hot question. Oh, first off, let me get started by saying welcome to the show, John Started. John, how you doing, man?
Welcome. It's Wednesday.
Yeah,
Hump Day
it is.
edition on the 4-Star Sports Buffet.
Yeah, man. Going to be a lot of fun today. Got a lot going on for sure. Let's start with, we have a burning question every show, as we know. Lately, I've been getting a little bit tricky with them a little bit. I've been having some fun with it. All right, so the burning question of the show, as you know, whoa, almost knocked my whole desk down. We will get back into this question at the end of the show like we do every single week. But what stadium would you not want to visit in your first game as a head coach? And I thought I put Roach there at the end. I didn't. I put Coach. Good. What stadium would you not want to visit in your first game as a head coach? Think on it, ponder on it, phone a friend on it, whatever you got to do. It's fine. But we are going to get into it at the end of the show. So, John, sorry, I'm typing real quick. Do you? So, a lot of people say that there is thing is a home field advantage, right? It's kind of the point of me asking that question. So, our first question, our first poll question, of the show, if I could just finish typing, is: do you honestly, I say believe like it's Santa Claus, but do you believe in home field advantage? Yeah. Do you believe in home field advantage?
Yeah, absolutely. I believe in it. Who doesn't believe when you have 100,000 people right behind you in the stadium capacity? So who doesn't believe a home field advantage, especially when you got like a 2-week off, and whatnot. So I definitely believe in it. Especially when it's a night game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what I was about to say. I mean, you go to LSU at night against Alabama, and then you go find Western Kentucky. Now I'm just using them as an example. Please no Hilltoppers. I'm not picking on you. Just saying. Then you go find Western Kentucky, and you go find their biggest rival and put them at night. It's gonna make a big difference.
I'll give you one right now because I experienced it firsthand. Last year, Tennessee Florida game. That was the first kind of true environment God, what's the quarterback name? Oh, for for Tennessee. Oh
Oh,
gosh,
Nico.
no, the one that was on quarterback last year. Oh, Joe.
Oh, Milton.
Yeah,
Joe Milton.
Milton. So that Milton, that was
Yeah.
his first true road test environment at night. Was down in the
Yeah.
swamp last year, and he panicked. Like he couldn't hear Coach Heupel on the sidelines, and Coach Heupel probably couldn't even hear his own self think on that sidelines as well because the road environment was so home field advantage at night for the Florida Gators. So that's one reason I do believe in home field advantage, especially when you got a quarterback that's never had a true road atmosphere like the swamp last year, and it
Yeah.
showed for the Tennessee Vols.
Very true, man. Very true. Very true. All right. Poll question number 2. All these will be put up at our social medias here shortly. Also, feel free to chime in the comment section if you're on Facebook, YouTube as well. Second question, we're going to talk about the OBU Tigers. That's Ouachita Baptist Tigers, not Oklahoma Baptist University, who's also in the GAC. But one is a Bison. That's Oklahoma Baptist. One is a Tiger. That's Ouachita. So, could OBU beat any other schools in Arkansas? When I say any other schools, I'm meaning Arkansas State, University of Arkansas, Arkansas Pine Bluff, Arkansas, these types of programs. So, John, I'll start with you. Do you think they could? Do you think it's possible?
I mean, they are senior heavy. They got 24 seniors.
Man, yeah, they
So,
are.
from like senior point of view, I think they can beat like an Arkansas Pine Bluff, and whatnot. But in Arkansas, I don't know about all that, but maybe like in Arkansas Pine Bluff, they can compete with them because it comes down to depth. And I think the 24 seniors that have been there for like maybe 2 or 3 years, even 4, can compete with an Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, of course I mentioned Arkansas as a haha. I, I think they could step on the field right now and compete with Arkansas State, and that's nothing against Arkansas State. I think they could step on the field and move the football against a team like an Arkansas. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. When you look at them, they have the most and we talked about it. It's on Twitter, it's on Facebook. We talked about it the other day. We're going to get more into it here in just a minute. Ouachita Baptist in the last 6 seasons is 61-6 in the regular season.
Mm.
They also have 15 consecutive winning seasons, which is the longest in the state at any level. Doesn't matter what the school is, Ouachita holds the record. So we'll get into that too. All right, John, it's time to get into the main course, man. So let's get started. We've got a very, very, very interesting golf tournament going on. Tees off tomorrow, Thursday, right there in Memphis, Tennessee, over at the St. Jude Classic, man. The St. Jude Championship, St. Jude Classic. It's out at Southwind. It's been out there for my whole life.
Right.
Yeah, literally my whole life. Matter of fact, my family has them, or had, I think they passed away now, but had a family friend that lived out on the Southwind. And we would go watch the tournament there at their house. It's always pretty fun. They had plaques of who had went and used their bathroom and stuff. It's pretty cool. But man, this is always a fun time. The weather, I think, is going to cooperate a little bit more. I mean, it looks like there's some rain in the forecast today, and then a little bit more tomorrow. But John, when you look at this field, it's packed again, and we know the stands are going to be packed.
Yeah, absolutely. You brought up the weather. They have the Celebrity Pro-Am going on as we speak, other than the rain conditions that we have as we speak as well. Then, like you said, it tees off all tomorrow morning, bright and early at 7 a.m. You get the top 70 golfers here in town, and then, after this weekend, it goes down to 50, and then it goes down to 20 right after the BWI, as well. But you talked about the golf tournament. I got lucky to go a couple times myself, and like you brought up, if you don't get there no later than 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, good luck finding a parking spot. Good luck battling the crowds per se, because that's when the crowds start to get pretty heavy throughout the day because everybody wants to see like a Bubba Watson or Roy McIlroy and that type of stuff. So if you don't get there early, good luck finding a parking spot. Once you have a parking pass ahead of time, good luck finding a parking spot.
Yeah, no doubt. And the tournament, I found it, John. So since 1970, Memphis's PGA Tour stop has raised more than $72 million for the championship's primary charitable beneficiary, which is St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital there in Memphis. $72 million since 1970, John. I'll be honest with you. That puts the golf tournament in a whole new perspective, in my opinion. I mean, I obviously I knew it was a charity event. I knew they gave money. I didn't realize they gave that much money to St. Jude. But the city of Memphis is looking forward to it, man. They've held a PGA Tour event every year since 1958. The 2024 marks the third year hosting a FedEx Cup playoff, and even in its 65-year golf history. So, John, 65 years of this golf tournament. You go back and look at some of the winners. I mean, Matt Kuchar won a playoff, or had a playoff. That was at Ridgewood Country Club. But I mean, some of these guys have just done an amazing job. Dustin Johnson. Look. You just look back at some of these winners that we've seen. Will we see a Rory get a win? Will we see somebody like that get a win? Or will we see a, you know, Will Zalatoris who won it a few years back? What's your thoughts on this St. Jude tournament? We're going to talk more about it Friday, but what's your thoughts on this St. Jude tournament as it gets cranked up?
Man, I really do. I think it's one of the top ones ever since they decided it's a playoff now, kind of per deal. Because in years past, it would be like the top 100 or so or more golfers, like we just brought up, that now are down to top 70, golfers for this. And I really think, the last couple of years have gone to that last play, or not last playoff, but that last hole in general that could decide a playoff, if you remember right. I think it's been like it feels like the last 3 out of 4 years that it's gone down to the last 18th hole for a lot of golfers to find out if they're actually going to go to a playoff or not. But I know I was looking at some of the notes as well, and I was kind of surprised by how it's not going to be on CBS this weekend. It's going on to NBC. So that was kind of a little bit of a shock because I thought you would see, your good old Jim Nance
Mm-hmm.
and others and Ali LaForce and others, on that pod or on that telecast, but now it's on NBC on Saturday and Sunday. And it starts off on the Golf Channel, which, that's kind of common. But I thought, from CBS to NBC was kind of a shock in a way.
Yeah.
But whatever you can do to get ratings and represent the city of Memphis the way that it has the last couple of years. And another person I want to give out a lot of credit to is Daryl Smith over the last couple of years. I know he's not the person in charge of it no more, but
Right.
Daryl Smith in years past had done a phenomenal job. And I'm sure he still has a little bit of capacity on what says going on and whatnot. But credit to Daryl Smith and his crew. Even the volunteers, man, like they're battling the 97-degree heat tomorrow, the
Oh
96
yeah.
degree heat Friday. So credit to any volunteers that are listening to this right now. Thank you for volunteering for a great tournament. I know I would be volunteering if I wasn't working overnight per se, but great year or great tournament all year round and great tournament.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be a lot of fun again, man. I thoroughly enjoy this tournament every single year that it happens. It's just always a good time. All right, man. Speaking of a good time, I am loving this NFL preseason football. Been a lot of fun watching these
Can I ask you a
games
quick
as
question
well.
about golf real quick? Sorry, Wes. I
Sure.
meant to ask you like this on Monday while we were talking about a little bit of golf, but
Mhm.
Wednesday, I say Wednesday for a reason. What did you think about Monday when Matt decided to play his last hole, finish his last hole on a Monday because of darkness when he could easily, he was 7 strokes back for crying out loud, I was kind of surprised by that move. What about you?
I mean, I understand where you're coming from there, but man, that's tough because I mean, he's a professional golfer.
Yeah.
I mean, you want the conditions to be right. Now, would I rather play at 6:30, 7 o'clock at night and it not have dew on the ground? You know what I mean? Like you wake up in the morning, there's a little bit of wetness, there's a little bit of moisture on the ground, right? I
Right.
wouldn't want to have that as a golf. I mean, I've gone out there and played golf in the mornings, and that there's dew on the ground. It's slick. The
But you're
ball
on the
travel.
last
The
hole.
ball travels a little bit more, to be honest with you. But I don't know, man. I mean, I see both sides of that. To be honest with you, John, I see both sides of it. Um, I would have probably done what he did. To just to be honest with you, I'd have probably done what he did.
I was just shocked by it because he was on the last hole and he was 7 shots back and he was the only golfer left and
Yeah.
didn't get to bring all the people back, staffing and whatnot the next day. That's what I was just kind of surprised. Like he would do something like that.
Yeah. All right, man. Up next, I'm like I just said, I'm very excited about this preseason. I love it. I'm a big college football fan. So once the college player transitions over to the NFL, I continue to follow the player. Honestly, I'm getting more into the NFL side of things, professional side of things now as well. But John, let's talk preseason NFL. We're going into week 2. We got the first game coming up tomorrow night between the Eagles and the Patriots. Both teams 1-0 in preseason play. Game will kick off at 6 p.m. and I will be watching it. That's going to be a fun one to watch. But let's talk a little bit about some surprises, some disappointments from week 1. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, yeah, my week 1 disappointment right off the bat on Thursday night. Carolina Panthers 17-0 going to that final stretch, and you basically don't kick a field goal until you kick a field goal, but there's 2 minutes to go in the game until you finally saw the points. So Carolina was a big. I know it's Carolina, but Carolina 3 points going in or 0 points going into that 2 minutes until the fourth quarter when you finally kicked the field goal and made it 17-3. That was one of my disappointments, and I guess I'll go with another disappointment. We'll go with the LA Chargers scoring only 3 points under Coach Harbaugh's. Um, they had no passing yards, really, it felt like, because Perez had 61 yards, Max Duggan, the former TCU quarterback, 4-7 for 41, and then Stick, 5-13 for 31. So I was kind of surprised just to see those two offenses only scored 3 points as my disappointment. Who was your disappointment?
My disappointment was the Detroit Lions. I mean, I understand the starters aren't playing. I get it. I understand that. But you only put up 3 points in the first quarter, and then we see, and I mean, I get it. It's preseason. But to lose 14-3, put some points on the board. You've got talent everywhere. Oh, by the way, we also had a Hendon Hooker sighting.
Hey, he looked good.
Hendon Hooker looked good. 5 for 9, 36 yards. I mean, not just he didn't beat beat it off the wall, but 4 rushes, 34 yards, 8.5 rushes per attempt. We would see Nate Sudfeld come in and play as well for the Lions. No touchdowns, 1 interception, 18 of 33 for 132 yards. When you look at rushing wise for him, 30 rushes, 118 yards, no touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
I look, you call it an overreaction, call it whatever you want to call it. I get it. It's preseason. Nobody cares. But you're a professional football team. My expectation is anytime you play a football game, unless you're playing a team with a incredible defense, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't recall the Giants having the Ravens defense from last year.
No. Mm-hmm.
Ravens were the number 1 defense last year, folks. In case wasn't aware. 3 points? You kick a field goal? That's it? I don't know, man. Like I said, that was a major disappointment to me, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the Lions can do this week, because You only got 4 weeks. I understand there's joint practices during the middle of the week. The Titans got one coming up today and tomorrow against the Seahawks in preparation of their game um, coming up Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. You know what I mean? Like I understand there's joint practices, things of that nature. This week you play Kansas City if you're Detroit. Yeah, Kansas City lost last week, but they scored points. So I don't know. I mean, like I said, that they are my disappointment. I'm a huge Dan Campbell fan, man. I almost sound like a fan of the Lions. I'm not. I'm
Right.
not at all. Um, I just want to see something. Give me
Yeah,
something.
at least put your starters out there for at least a drive or two and see they can score.
Yeah. I mean, and I mean, look, I understand. I'm a Titan fan, whatever. But and I understand the Titans only won what 17-14, 17-13.
Mm-hmm.
But sorry, folks, they scored 17 points. Will Levis looked really good. By the way, that was my surprise, was
Okay.
how good this Tennessee Titans team really looked. Honestly, I figured after Derrick Henry left, I didn't think the backfield was going to look the same. I'll be truthful with you. That first play, not seeing Derrick Henry in the backfield was different. Seeing Tony Pollard was pretty cool. I will be honest with you. I think he's the only offensive star or that type of player that's come from Memphis to play for Tennessee. So the Titans anyway. So
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty cool. I mean, we've had some offensive linemen stuff like that, but that backfield of Pollard, Tajay Spears from Tulane, Hassan Haskins, I thought looked really good. Will Levis, as long as we can keep him healthy, and he talked about it. I don't know if you saw the hit. He took a nasty hit. And he was very open about it post game. He said, look, I was trying to make something happen. I got to the sidelines, and, players and coaches both were like, hey, man, it's preseason. You got to get down. He said, so next time, I'll get down. Um, that team's going to be really good. I think offensively, they're really good. I think defensively, that's where the surprise came in. I mean, I went back and sat down last night, watched all 22 film of the entire Titans game. And when you look at
Mm-hmm.
them from a defensive side of the ball, wasn't too many times in that game that they weren't exactly where they were supposed to be. So, John, who was your surprise before we get into games this week?
Speaking of the Spears and Pollard, we talked about this on Monday. I think it's going to be like another Jonathan Stewart, D'Angelo Williams type deal when they headed him in Carolina back because they used them both at the same time, whatnot. And I think they're going to use the Titans Spears and Pollard at the same time as well down the road and see how they're going to do. Like we talked about Monday, might put one of them in the slot. But he's not a surprise per se. But the Denver Broncos and Bo Nix. Bo Nix looked impressive in his first preseason game and first game even as a NFL player. Um, Denver Broncos scoring 34 points. When's the last time you saw that?
Peyton Manning was there.
Yeah, when Peyton Manning or Tim Tebow got you to playoff, won that playoff game. But Bo Nix, 15-21 for 125 yards, one touchdown, 3 rushes for 17 yards with a long of 11.
Mm-hmm.
But shout out to Blake Watson as well, 9 carries for 26, 3 yards a carry. But he's gonna get his touches.
He
Think
got him a
about it.
tutty, too.
Yeah, think about it. If Blake Watson does not work out with the Denver Broncos, he always has the Showboats to rely on, since the Memphis Showboats did draft him. But Denver Broncos, Bo Nix looked impressive. I'm not surprised by it because I thought Denver Broncos would have been a good fit all along for him, especially when you got Coach Payton coaching them, and whatnot.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach Payton did coach a Hall of Famer and coach or Drew Brees for crying out loud. So Bo Nix, I think, is a good fit in Denver, and it showed that first game, for the Broncos.
Yeah, I mean, when the Broncos jumped up to make that pick, I was extremely ecstatic. I think Bo Nix was one of the best quarterbacks in the country, not just last year, but his entire football college career. You look at what he did at Auburn. Let's just be honest; he went through a lot at Auburn. Call it what
Mm-hmm.
call it what you want. And then to go to Oregon and do what he did with the Ducks was pretty daggum impressive, to be honest with you. Um, but you look at think back to who his coaches were too.
Right.
So he had Gus Malzahn in Auburn. Then you have Dan Lanning at Oregon. That that's two very very unique styles to play under. And then you think about the competition that he played against. You come from the SEC for your first 3 seasons, 4, however many it was, and then you go play in the de facto Pac-10. But let's think about who was in the Pac-10 or Pac-12. Sorry, let's think about who was in the Pac-12 at the time: Utah, USC, UCLA. Oregon was no slouch, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I think, like I said, the second the draft pick was made, I immediately had messages out. There's posts as well. Bo Nix is going to be the man. I still stand by that statement. I think when you look after week 1, and Bo Nix is going to be the starter this week, by the way. Sean Payton already said that
Mm-hmm.
last week. So when you look at Denver this week, oh, by the way, they play Green Bay in week 2. Now, we know the starters are not going to play a lot. We heard from Brian Callahan, Titans head coach, this week. He said, look, you're going to see more of the 2s and the 3s starting now, as we really want to see what they can do. But, yeah, I completely agree with Denver, man. Let's go ahead and look into this week. Let's look at just a couple of games that stand out to us before we take a quick break. So, a couple of them that stand out to me that I will be watching for sure. First off is Denver Green Bay. I think that's just going to be a fun game to watch. Obviously, I will sit down and watch the Titans and Seahawks. Both teams 1-0. Titans looking to extend and have a 6-game home winning streak during the preseason as well. And that would make Callahan 2-0 in preseason. The the Thursday night game I think is going to be fun. But John, a game that I'm excited about. Didn't think I'd say this. The Chicago Bears. I'm excited to watch the Bears and see what they can do because there's talent all around Caleb Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have gone back and watched Caleb Williams. Anybody that trashed Caleb Williams, I thought he did pretty good. And I went back and sat down and watched all 22 film. I didn't just watch the game film. Um, I thought he played pretty well, to be honest. We got college football coming up next. We're going to get into Ouachita Baptist, James Madison, and UTSA here on the Sports Buffet. It's Wednesday, August 14th. Holy crap, it's already August 14th. August 14th, 2024 edition of the show presented to you by 4-Star Sports Media. I am Wes Pruitt. We got John Sturdivant in the house as well, just to get that little part out of the way there, John. And, by the way, John, you need tickets to an NFL preseason game? You need tickets to an NFL regular season game? You need tickets to a Ouachita Baptist game out at Cliff Harris Stadium in Arkadelphia, Arkansas? If you do, head over to SeatGeek now. Type in promo code right there, 4-Star Sports Media, all together, one word. Create you a link once you create an account. Once you create that account, head over there, create write down the password. That way you don't forget it. I always mention that because I don't ever remember passwords. Then type in right down there, 4-Star Sports Media. Any ticket, $50 or more, you can save $20 on that ticket purchase. And I
Hey, I
promise
got
you,
2 games for you
it
real
does
quick.
work.
That might be
Sure, go ahead.
exciting me this weekend. I want to see how the Vikings do now without J.J. McCartney at quarterback
Agreed.
after him tearing his meniscus, and they play the Cleveland Browns. And I wonder if they're going to be trying to get another quarterback, in the trade market now because of that. Um, Sam Darnold is your quarterback right now, so you don't know really how long JJ is going to be out for the Vikings. So that'll be kind of interesting to see what they do going forward. But I want to see how the Rams do now because Stinson Bennett played the whole game against the Cowboys last week. I know he had 4 interceptions, but just the way he battled and battled and battled that whole ball game just to get that game-winning touchdown on that 4th-and-goal last week. I want to see what kind of momentum from that drive he can carry over to this week and see if he. I know people are saying, "Well, Stinson Bennett threw 4 interceptions." You got to remember, Stetson Bennett did not play a single down last year due to personal reasons.
Yeah.
So let's definitely see how Stetson Bennett does in week 2 against Coach Harbaugh and the Chargers. So that'll be kind of interesting in week
Yeah.
2 matchup as well.
No doubt. No doubt. All right, man, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it's all college football, folks. We get into college football on a national level. Then we talk Ouachita, James Madison, UTSA, and more. All that and more right here on the Sports Buffet, presented to you by 4-Star Sports Media. Be right back, folks. Welcome back, folks, to the Sports Buffet. I'm your host, Wes Pruitt. We got John Starvett in the house as well. Folks, it's time for a little college football talk. John, let's start as we yak about the GAC a little bit. Great American Conference, for those of you who don't know who the GAC is, the GAC. This is a very exciting conference in general, John, not just football. You look at women's soccer. The team we're getting ready to talk about, Ouachita Baptist, has a really talented soccer team as well. But let's get into it, man. We'll start with next Wednesday. We will be in the Great American Conference Football Media Day press conference. Just got confirmation of that yesterday by Eric Moyer, the SID for the Great American Conference. But look for that next Wednesday. We'll still be on air, folks. Don't worry. We're still going to be right here giving you a plate full of sports. But we're also going to be in the Great American Conference Media Day. We'll be asking questions to all the head coaches, including Coach Todd Knight of the Ouachita Baptist Tigers. For those of you who don't know who Ouachita Baptist is, they are a Division II football program, powerhouse program, honestly, out of the Arkadelphia, Arkansas. Right across the street from them is the team we're going to talk about next week, and that's Henderson State. That's the Reddies, and they are getting ready for 2024 football over across the street in Henderson. But, John, it's time to talk a little Ouachita Baptist. One thing that sticks out to me with Ouachita Baptist is this, John. I've said it now, I think, a couple times. Couple things. Number one, Todd Knight is 152 and 101 at Ouachita, beginning his 25th season as the head coach. So I want to start with this question. It's real simple. Todd Knight has built an absolute powerhouse program in Arkadelphia, Arkansas. Why do more people not know about this?
I remember watching them on every Thursday night growing up when they were on a local channel here in town when we're in the Gulf South Conference. when they would compete with the Delta State, week in and week or year in year out. So if people don't know this name by now, then there's something wrong. Yeah, they've been. I feel like they've been around for even like you brought up their soccer team. I think their basketball team is still up to par as well.
Yeah.
Regarding men's and women's basketball, but their football team, you brought up that winning record under that coach, and I think it all started. It all starts where they recruit, and I think they've done a great job recruiting year in year out, and it looks like the coaching staff has done a phenomenal job by getting maybe some transfers from the. They've done a good job recruiting the Texas area by looking at their roster the last couple of days, in general as well. So whatever they're doing recruiting, keep up the good work in Wichita or in that neck of the woods.
Yeah, man. Ouachita 2023 was their sixth consecutive season of 9 wins or more. The No one in the Great American Conference has more conference titles than the Tigers. The Tigers have 6 currently. The program, like I said earlier, the program has posted 15 consecutive winning seasons. This is the longest streak in the state of Arkansas at any level in college football. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Last 6 regular seasons, Ouachita Baptist was 61-6 in the regular season. John, you talked about it, loading up with talent. But what they're doing is they're getting some Texas kids, like you said. You're getting a lot of Arkansas kids. You go look at this roster; it is loaded with Arkansas talent. Todd Knight would say that's really the heart and soul of our team, Arkansas high school football, and it starts and stops in the backfield with Kendall Givens. When you look at the Little Rock Christian native, he is a graduate student and he is beginning his 4th season, and he ranks as the Tigers' all-time leader in rushing touchdowns with 57, by the way, and has scored 5 receiving touchdowns. He's the only unanimous all GAC selection last year. He carried 206 times for 1,227 yards, 21 touchdowns, averaging 5 yards a carry and 111 yards a game. He had 15 receptions for 218 yards, 4 touchdowns, and he had 7 games with at least 2 rushing touchdowns and 3 with at least 3 touchdowns. So, John, Knight would say you can look at all of his numbers and see
Mm-hmm.
what our expectations are. He's an All-American for a reason. Kendall Givens is, no pun intended, but he keeps the Tigers running. But he can also do it out of the backfield. Little Rock Christian, very talented program right in the center of the state. Um, Talent. Connor Flanagan's another one. Little wide receiver that's got some moxie to him. He's got that it factor in him, and he's cocky with it too. Just to be honest with you, I personally I like it. I have no problem with it. What's your thoughts on this Ouachita team, man? Really, really good last year. The only loss was to the national championship Harding Bison, and that was 54-10. But we talked about them last week.
Yeah, just how impressive they are. Like we talked about to start the show, 24 seniors on this football team, and just the way I think we talked about a team a couple weeks ago, like who can basically beat Harding for that regular season outright title. And I think this year it could very well be this football team right here because the senior heavy football team, 24 seniors on this football team is quite impressive. They might have not been there all 4 years, but 24 seniors on this football team and to only lose one game all year long. And their offensive line and defensive line is, as a D2 school, I would not want to face. You got a lineman that's averaging 280,
No.
300, 295, and good luck facing them because they are absolute. And then the redshirt freshmen are like 265 and 285, up to 285. So wait till another 4 years with them. They could be very well be 320, 330 down the road.
Oh yeah, man, it's crazy. It really is crazy, man. Because I sit here and I look at this roster and I look at the talent on this team. Obviously the experience is there right now. I mean, some people are out there questioning depth at certain positions. I understand that you want to have depth because it's a long season. You talk to Rex Nelson, voice of the Tigers, who's been a guest of ours a few times now, and Rex will tell you too. It's a long season for his voice. It's a long season. But speaking of that, the Ouachita Digital Network guys, those guys over there do an incredible job. Ran into them down at the Senior Bowl. They were down covering Greg Jr. now NFL player. Also, congratulations to Greg on his newborn he just had as well. But Greg is a Ouachita Baptist alum. That's where he started. We watched him play in the Battle of the Ravine game, which, speaking of that, John, we've talked about this game, right? Obviously, it's a big game, one of the big games every year. It's the prime time game, but not played at night. But I bring that up for a reason. Someone else, Aaron Weatherford, who's a big Henderson State guy, brought this up to me. He said, "Man, he said I would love to see that game played at night. Both programs have lights on their stadium, and I took a picture of the cliff, as they call it, there at Ouachita with the lights on at night. That stadium looks pretty cool, man. I have to admit. And being there live for a game now, of course, it was the Battle of the Ravine, so it was a big time rivalry. Being there live for that football game, there's passion in that fan base. The alumni come back. Trust me, they come back and they're loud. And it's not just guys from 15 years ago, 20 years ago. It's guys from 30 and 40 years ago that are still coming back. 50 years ago, they're still coming back to watch this team play.
And their
But
alumni
John, when you
game
look at
was
them,
against
man,
Harding this year.
yeah, it is actually. That's very kind of ironic that you did say that too. But when you look at the specific game, the Battle of the Ravine, 0.08 miles away from each other, they're literally across the street. Henderson State will walk across the street, come up, turn. They come across a bridge that takes them onto the Ouachita football facility campus, and then they walk into the stadium. I know because they walked right past me when I was at the game. So I know their path. They walk right past me. Very cool. It gives me chills just thinking about it now. Honestly, just the pageantry and the passion behind that game. I'm gonna ask the question to the GAC commissioner. Hey, can we get it? Because it's a TBA right now. We don't know what time it's gonna be.
Well, by the
Hey,
schedule I'm
I
looking
don't
at
care.
right now, it's at 1 o'clock.
Can we get it
What?
moved?
Yeah, absolutely. Move it to at least
Yeah.
7 o'clock.
Can we get it and put it? You don't even have to do that. At that point in time, it's dark by 5.
True.
By the time that game's over with, it's dark, getting dark anyway. For 2-3 hour football game. Start that bad boy at 4 o'clock.
Well, what can we do to put this game on ESPN Plus?
I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
What do we? I mean, do we need to get with Rex and the Ouachita Digital guys? I mean, the game's streamed every Ouachita game is streamed through these guys on Digital Network on YouTube. I'm not trying to sit here and plug these guys. I'm just saying they do an incredible job, man. It's going to be streamed, but I want it. I agree, John. Let's get this game. It's been mentioned on College Game Day numerous times.
Right.
Get it on ESPN because guess what? People would watch. I'm telling you right now, people, if you give the history, you give the reason that Ouachita covers the Tiger up with plastic, the reason that there's people that stay up all night, it's called watching the Tiger. You stay up all night and watch the Tiger. You guard the Tiger. It's called guarding the Tiger, whatever it is. Same thing happens on the Henderson State campus. There's a fountain there on the campus that people watch to make sure nobody messes with. All these things have happened throughout the history and years between these two programs. Put all that on TV. Go get Ryan McGee to do a voiceover for these two teams, and then put that on TV with ESPN. Man, I'm telling you, it's money.
or move this game to a Sunday afternoon or something like that. When you
I
got
ain't
to,
gonna do Sunday because both
I
those
know.
teams,
Oh,
both those
true.
teams are Baptist schools. They're not.
I
They're
know.
not gonna do Sunday.
True.
Well, I'll
I
watch
forgot
Tony.
about, I forgot about the church rule.
Yeah, they're not gonna do that. They're not gonna do that. Now, would people still go? Yeah. Would people still watch? Yeah. But you're gonna ruffle some feathers by
Yeah,
doing it on
yeah.
Sunday.
Put this game on ESPN Plus. Put
Man,
nothing to
yeah.
get their network or whatever, but put this game
Yeah.
on ESPN Plus. Hey, if me and you gotta do it, we'll do it. Hire us up. Let's go.
Dude, start this game at 5 o'clock. Kick it off at 5. That gives everybody time to get there. You can have breakfast. You can have breakfast on the confines. You can do a little bit of a lunch on the confine. Then you get in the game. And hey, if it starts at 5, the game's over by 8. You don't want to go home. Henderson or Watchdog, whoever, home or away, you just walk right across the street to back to your car. So go back over there and get the tailgate going again. Those
Right.
those folks tailgate up there too, man. The food is good, trust me. Um, yeah, John, this Watchdog team is gonna be a lot of fun to watch, man. They get it all cranked up on against Oklahoma. I'm sorry, Northwest Oklahoma. On September 5th at 7 p.m.
Put Delta State back on the schedule if y'all can in the near future, also, please.
That'd be kind of cool too. I wouldn't mind seeing that too. But very, very interesting schedule. As you know, this conference is compiled of teams from the state of Arkansas, teams from the state of Oklahoma. We're going to talk about specifically here. We'll talk about the whole conference, but we'll really dive into the teams here in Arkansas. We started with Harding. Today is Ouachita. We'll move over to Henderson State. We'll go across the street and talk about Henderson State coming up next. But yeah, man, big time program, John. Big time program. And another thing is they love them a Aussie punter. They got their third one in a row, man.
Wow.
I love it. I love it. Todd Knight would say, we've developed a pipeline down there.
They're
How
basically
cool.
they're taking the plays out of D1 coaches. That's what they're doing.
But I mean, how cool is that?
Yeah.
To be able to be a team from no offense, but Arkadelphia, Arkansas, where most people are going to go, where? And you can go to Australia and find you a punter for the third consecutive time.
That just shows that people are putting their film out there for coaches.
The film's out there, but it also tells you how impressed I am. It really impresses me with this coaching staff looks on a national and world level, for that matter. I mentioned earlier the roster's compiled of a lot of Arkansas kids, right?
Right.
Arkansas is here. Australia's way over there.
Only 16-hour time difference, but
Only 16, exactly. Only 16-hour time difference.
I'm guessing 16 hours.
I mean, it's, something. Anyway, I mean, when you're asleep in Arkansas, they're up fighting kangaroos in Australia or whatever they do out there. But no, man, this football team is going to be a lot of fun. If you're a Ouachita Baptist football or Ouachita Baptist fan in general and you're watching, we appreciate you watching. We will be talking about the Tigers throughout the season and moving forward. We'll be creating a podcast. Yes. Mm-hmm. I was getting there. But we'll be talking about them all year. We'll eventually broaden this out more, have a specific podcast on Ouachita. We're going to do it. Our plan is to do it for each team, each Arkansas team, have a separate podcast specifically for them under the umbrella of yakking about the GAC. Because that's what we're doing. We're sitting there yakking about a college football conference. So, no, OBU is going to be a lot of fun to watch. Season cranks up September 5th. We'll have much more on that season, as well as, like I said, look out next Wednesday. We'll be on that GAC football media call, and we're going to have Rex Nelson, former guest, really good friend of mine, great guy. Incredible behind the microphone, too. But Rex will be joining us to preview this team. And Rex, John, I love a good nugget, right? A good nugget of information is I'm all about it. And Rex will pull them out, buddy. You think you can dig up something? Nope, you're wrong. Rex Nelson, that boy will dig up something. Trust me. But yeah, man, a lot of fun, lot of fun, lot of fun. Ouachita Baptist football season is here. The Great American Conference football season is here, and it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, John. Sorry I'm back. I had to bend down and put something up. All right, up next, let's get into from the GAC to the AC. We're going to now talk about the American Athletic Conference. That's the AAC. Um, and we're going to talk a little UTSA, John. Obviously, they lose their starting quarterback for years ago. They do bring in a young man named Owen McCown from Colorado.
Shocking.
I'll leave that one alone. I'll let that be. Um, don't want to, I don't want to make anybody mad where,
Right.
they won't take questions from us. I don't want to do that. Um, yeah, no, UTSA is going to be a really good football team. 9-4 last year, 7 returning on the offensive side of things, 7 returning on the defensive side of things. Jeff Traylor in his 5th year, and as we know, John, Jeff Traylor is an incredible football coach. Yes, he has some Arkansas ties as he was left Arkansas as a positional coach, um, went down to UTSA to coach the Road Runners.
Beep,
They
beep.
play in the Alamo Dome, by the way, John. Capacity for that bad boy is 34,984. That was last year. They filled up about 82%. I've been inside that facility as we talked about when we talked about stadiums, and
Uh-huh.
that sucker gets loud, buddy. I just put it to you that way. Now, I did see a hard rock concert in the stadium, but yeah, down. That stadium gets loud, man. All right, John, it's time to go down and take a look at their schedule for the year.
I
They start
Hey,
off.
I do. You brought up a great point
Yeah,
regarding UTSA, man. Like you said, first of all, Frank Harris did a phenomenal job for that program. Like,
100%.
uh, this great player all around. Heck, 2 years. Like, I forgot how many years ago now it's been. But when they came into Memphis, and I'm like, okay, this team is legit. When they were in that conference that they were in, and I'm glad they kind of, a lot of people are saying, well, they joined the American. That's not a good place for them. The conference is going to be awful because of them. We have talked about this numerous times, Wes. The coaching in this conference from top to bottom. You brought up the coach, Jeff Traylor, a few minutes ago. He does a hell of a job, and he very well could have took a job somewhere else this offseason, like at Texas A&M. Like, seriously, I think Texas A&M maybe did interview him according to some reports, but Jeff
They
Traylor
did.
always said, like Jeff Traylor could have basically, like we talked about with Tony. I really thought Jeff Traylor was going to Houston and replace Holgerson.
Mhm.
Everybody did, to be honest with you. I think me, you, and him really thought that because Jeff Traylor is definitely a hot commodity in this coaching circuit. And I think if he has another 9-win season this year, I could definitely see him jumping ship and leaving UTSA to go somewhere else and basically succeed. And he's going to be a succeeder everywhere he's going to go, bottom line. But I like Jeff Traylor a lot. I think he's going to be one of the top coaches. People better be. Even Arkansas, you never know. They might make that phone call to him.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, like we talked about with Jason the other day
Yeah.
on over under, and um, I, that Arkansas team's just they're puzzling, man. They're puzzling. But let's look at this team. 2021, this team went 12-2.
Wow.
2022, they went 11-3. 2023, they went 9-4. Got a big time schedule, some big time football games. Let's start it off with August 31st against Kennesaw State. This is the first meeting between these two programs and the first FBS game for Kennesaw State. Damn, I feel bad for those boys. You got to go all the way to freaking San Antonio, Texas. Whoo, that Riverwalk is fun though. I will admit it is fun. Give me UTSA, John, but I have a feeling this might be just kind of ugly for a minute. I think it's going to be a little sloppy, and then it kind of clears up and UTSA gets the win.
Yeah, I'll say UTSA by like 20 or so.
Okay. September 7th, they take on Texas State. The Roadrunners are 5-0 straight up against the Bobcats since entering FBS in 2012. John, I like this Texas State team, man. This
Right.
Texas State team's got some moxie to them. Damn. Give me Texas State.
Ooh.
Give me Texas. I know. And there may be UTSA fans right on here just screaming. That's fine. Give me Texas State to get a surprise on the road because I think this is two very tricky road games for UTSA. This game screams trap to me.
Man, you know what? I'm going to agree with you. Just because the game at Texas the week after.
Yes.
You very well could be looking ahead to Texas. So that, because UTSA always competes with Texas, every time they play Texas. So like you said, man, I'll take, you know what? I will take Texas State in this game because the game's at Texas State. Now, if the game was at UTSA, I'd definitely choose UTSA to win this game. But the game at Texas State, sold out crowd, give me the Bobcats all day.
Yeah. At Texas, I don't think they get that done.
They compete for a half, but the game's close for a half, and then Texas pours it on.
Houston Christian and East Carolina both. I think those are both W's.
I can agree to that because
so right now we're looking at them being, in my book, 3-2 on the season. They got a bye week. So does Rice before they play Rice. So they got to beat the carbohydrates at Rice. This is a tricky game to me too. Now, I'm not trying to be that guy and be like full of hot takes today on the schedule.
Right.
But give me Rice to get the win right there.
Okay, you get Rice losing to Charlotte, but you got them beating UTSA. Okay. I'm going to go UTSA here. I just think it comes down to coaching.
Yeah. And then FAU at Temple, Memphis. It's a 3-game stretch for this team. I think they'll go 1-2 in this stretch, and I think they'll beat Tulsa on the road, but they'll lose to FAU and Memphis at home.
I got them going 2-1. I got them beating Florida Atlantic and then beating at Tulsa. Although the Tulsa game could be an interesting game for a half because the game's at Tulsa, and then I get them losing to Memphis. Maybe like in a close game, 7-10 points, just because you got two great coaches going at it.
100%. And the last time UTSA was in Memphis, they broke the Tigers' winning streak at home. They were not a part of the same conference at that point. Obviously.
That's the game I was referring to.
Then they got a bye after Memphis. They take on North Texas on a Friday night game. Another tricky one, but give me the Roadrunners to run right past North Texas in that game.
Yeah, it's going to come down to, like you said, I think the game's at home with UTSA, so I'll give UTSA because games, they got a bye week right before them, and then it's the game's at home. Give me UTSA.
Okay. Right now, I've got UTSA sitting at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 losses right now. So I've got them sitting at 5 current losses. So, North Texas, I think, is a win. Temple, the following Friday night, short week, two back-to-back Friday nighters for UTSA, both at home though, so that makes it a little easier. Temple, I think it's a win.
Yeah, I can agree to that because the game's at home.
So right now they're sitting at 6-5 going into the final game. Is that correct?
Yeah, according to you, I get them only having 4 losses.
Yep, or 4. Yeah, four losses right now. And they finish up on the road. This is a schedule full of trap games. You play Army at West Point on November 30th. God dang. I mean,
you better have your jackets ready.
Man, you better have double layered jackets. You better have snowsuits. You better have snow masks. But the other thing is this, you better get ready because you're getting an Army football team that has gone through all its lumps. It's gotten everything, all the kinks worked out. And by that point in time, typically speaking, Army is not an easy team to play. And West Point's not an easy place to go anyway. Give me
No,
UTSA to drop the final game of the season to Army West Point, John. So I've got them losing to Texas State, Texas, Rice. Wait, Texas State, Texas,
right?
Rice. Another one in that FAU. Oh yeah, FAU, Memphis. I've got them finishing the season 6-6.
Yeah, I got them right now. I have them losing or beating Kennesaw State. So I got them losing to Texas State, beating Texas, beating Houston Christian, beating East Carolina, beating Rice, beating Florida Atlantic, beating Tulsa, losing to Memphis, beating North Texas, beating Temple. And like I agree with you, you don't know what the weather conditions are going to be like in Army. So I got Army winning that game because the game's in New York. So I got them 7-5 or 8-4.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, yeah, 7-5, 6-6. I predict 6-6. But yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I think it's gonna be very, very, very interesting. All right, John, let's we got through with the ACK. Well, we talked a little bit about the GAC, then we went out to the ACK. Now let's go have some fun, man. Let's go have some fun with the Sun Belt as we talk about the James Madison Dukes. James Madison Dukes under new head coach Bob Chesney, 11-2 last year. They returned 4 starters on offense, and they returned 3 starters on defense. I like that. I like that defense. Um, potent football team, John. Potent football team. When you look at them over the last numerous years, 2021, 12-2, 2022, 8-3. 2023, 11-2. John, when you look at this football team, you look at the Sun Belt. We've talked about it in depth. Some very talented football programs in this conference. What do you think about this James Madison team? First off, I love their mascot. The Duke is a cool looking mascot.
Yeah, first year coach, like you brought up, 4 returning on offense, 3 on defense. And I think it's very well, the quarterback play is going to be interesting because they do have some kids that are coming in off the transfer portal and playing quarterback for them, regarding this type of year. But it could very well be an interesting year because they don't return that many starters on both sides of the football. And the scheduling does kind of favor them and then it doesn't kind of favor them. So that's one reason if people, I think this year it's not going to be another double digit season for the win column for James Madison just because you don't know how it's going to be at certain positions, because they're so young at some spots as well. But they do have some big offensive linemen regarding James Madison.
Oh, massive, man. Massive. And they got to protect Dylan Morris. He's the transfer you're talking about coming in from the University of Washington. He left Washington. Obviously, Kellen DeBoer left, went to Alabama. So that opens up that portal door. Man, talented football team, though. Talented football team. I think when you look at them, Coach Cignetti, who was the previous head coach, left. He's now at Indiana. And I would love to see those two teams battle it out, too. That'd be
Mm-hmm.
kind of cool to watch. But yeah, man, brand new head coach Chesney he was very successful at Holy Cross, and then he hit the portal hard, because he hit the portal hard. He did the same thing here. This is a talented team, but a different team than last year, and I think we're looking at anywhere from 8 to 10 wins for this team, something like that. But let's quickly go through this schedule real quick. They start out at Charlotte.
Well, I have them beating Charlotte the other day. So let's give me James Madison winning that game.
Yep. Give me. Pretty sure did I have Charlotte winning this game?
No, I think you had Charlotte beating North Carolina, but you had them James
It
Madison.
was.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Yep. So I'll go. All right. So sorry, Duke fans. We got I'm talking about Duke Blue Devils. I'm talking about the Dukies. the Duke from James Madison. We're starting out 0-1 in both of our books. We apologize. September 7th, Gardner Webb. That's a
No,
dub.
I had them beating Charlotte. We both had them beating Charlotte the other day.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So 2-0. 2-0 in the season.
Right.
Bye week, September 14th. Then they go to North Carolina. Yee.
Sneaky game, but
Sneaky. Sneaky.
I give them the loss because the game's at North Carolina in a way, but it all come down to more experience on both sides of football.
Yeah. Now you got Ball State, final non-con of the year for them, and give me a dub here, man. I think don't get me wrong. Ball State Cardinals can peck you, and they can fly off and get a dub on you. Now, let's not get it crazy. But I think that I think James Madison gets a win as they head into conference play.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's going to be 3-1 before they play at ULM.
Ooh.
No disrespect to ULM, but I think they beat ULM
In the first meeting ever, I think ULM gets smacked around by James Madison, and we're going to talk about ULM coming up too. I really want to. Oh, that team's just I don't know what's going on. Okay, then they got Coastal on a Thursday night. Hey, that's when the Sun Belt kicks in there. When you get those Thursday night games, there ain't nothing better, man. And you just get home.
Andre Ware on the call. Let's go.
Man, yes, dude. Kick back. Coastal, 5th meeting all time. Give me James Madison to get the win over Coastal.
A short week, but the game's at home. Give me James Madison to win 5 games, 5-1 over Coastal.
Yeah, that's 3 straight wins, by the way, in our book for the James Madison Dukes. Then they go to Georgia Southern. I think that's going to be another win for James Madison to be 4 straight.
You know what? I will give Clay Helton this win at Georgia Southern.
Interesting. Okay.
Just because I think Clay Helton is a good fit for Georgia Southern. And I think Georgia Southern is going to be one of the improved teams in this conference this year. And that's one reason I think Georgia Southern, I know, get kind of like a week and a half to prepare for them in a way.
Yeah.
Or week and 2 days, up matter of fact. But give me Georgia Southern because the game's in Statesboro, Georgia.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Up next, homecoming against the Golden Eagles of Southern Miss. Give me a dub for James Madison. I really hope Southern Miss is better. And we're going to talk about them too coming up. But man, I hope they're better. But I don't know if they are. I'm sorry.
I love you, Coach Hall, but Georgia, give me James Madison.
Yeah. All right. November 2nd, second bye week of the season. Then they play Georgia State. Give me a win against Georgia State, John.
That's kind of another trap game right off the bye in a way, too, because you really don't know what to expect. You know how kids are. They always look at records, per se, whatnot. But Georgia State hasn't really had a good year in the last couple of years. So I'll give the dub James Madison because you really don't know what to expect. If Georgia State has kind of like a 500 record going into this game, and people are looking at records per se.
Yeah.
And then it's like Memphis versus Charlotte last year, for example. If you see a team that has like 3 or 4 wins going into the last stretch, a team could, like James Madison, could take a team lightly, like at Georgia State. But give me James Madison by like 15.
All right, John. Up next, November 16th. We'll be talking about it more on Over Under when we get into picks every week, too. It's the Royal Rivalry. Google it if you want, folks. I promise you it's a fact. Between James Madison and Old Dominion. Give me James Madison, John. Hold on a second. I've got James Madison currently beating Charlotte, Gardner Webb, Ball State, Coastal, Georgia Southern. I've got them winning like 7 straight football games, John. After the North Carolina loss, I've got them winning every game up to where we are currently on the schedule.
So are you saying they lose here?
No. That's funny. No, I've got them beating Old Dominion. Sorry, winning the Royal Rivalry.
I got you. Give me the game could be close. I think.
I agree.
Just because Old Dominion's got that non-conference game against Virginia Tech, they always play to get them ready for the conference. But give me James Madison in the maybe like a shootout,
Yep.
45-42.
Yeah. Old Dominion comes off a bye. This is a very crucial part of this schedule for James Madison. You've got an Old Dominion rivalry game off a bye. Old Dominion comes off the bye. Then you go on the road, by the way. Then you go to App State. We know what that place is like, and they're off a bye. So give me a L. They're gonna have to eat a little bit of an L burger here to the App State Mountaineers. I think Appalachian State gets the win on November 23rd.
Not so fast, my friend. No, okay.
Okay.
No. Give me App State to win that game. I think you said it by a week before for App State, so give me App State because the game is at App State in Boone, North Carolina.
All right, going into last season's meeting against Marshall, James Madison was 0-3 against the Thundering Herd. Well, they won the game last year 20-9. I think they're going to win the game this year over the Marshall Thundering Herd. What about you, John?
The game is going to be closer than what people think. I just think it's going to be a closer game just because, one, you don't really know what to expect on Marshall going into this final game. Marshall could be fighting for bowl eligibility going into this game. So give me James Madison to squeak it out, but it's going to be close.
Yeah, I think it's going to be close, man. So when you look at it, I've got James Madison winning 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've got them winning 10 games, which would be where they were last year. They won 11 last season. So right there where they were last year. What about you, John?
9-3 overall, and I think they could very well win that bowl game to make it 10 wins.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're 10 wins for James Madison, I mean, what else can you ask for, John?
I mean, 10 wins for
Not
James
much.
Madison. Yeah, nothing.
Yeah, not much. All right, man. It's time to if this computer would cooperate here. It's time to get to our list of the
Jesus,
show.
maybe yes.
Come on, computer. There we go. Finally. All right, John. It's time for list time. It is top 5 Heisman winners to spend the day with. Now, John, full disclosure, you know how I do my list. I've got 2 honorable mentions this week. So that's a positive. Normally I only have like 1. But I'll let you go first, as always. Go ahead, John.
Oh, man, come on. What about you?
Yep. Yeah, no, I'll go, just not right now.
All right, my honorable mention, I'm going to do Doug Flutie just because the miracle that he did back in the day, which is pretty cool to see on replay again for the Boston College Eagles. Heisman Trophy winner 1984, so we're showing our age a little bit. We weren't even born yet. And my other honorable mention, I'm going to go with Andre Ware from Houston. He was a quarterback at Houston, Heisman Trophy winner back in 1989. And I would just love to hear his background on the Houston Cougars back then when he won the Heisman as a junior. My Heisman that I want to spend a day with. Desmond Howard is one of them. Just because I've always loved Desmond ever since he was been part of College Game Day. And yeah, he might be a little bit of homer on Michigan, but you got to love it, right?
Mm-hmm.
My other one, I'm going to say, let's do Matt Liner from Southern Cal. He's doing a great job now with Fox Sports on the Saturday mornings, with good old Urban Meyer in the game.
Yeah.
So I'll say Matt Liner is one of them. So that's 2. Let's do. Man, that list was kind of hard. The last 3 of them, to be honest with you. But the person that really has changed a lot over the years, give me Baker Mayfield. The way that he has bought in that Tampa Bay Buccaneers organization over the last couple of years and just made them a playoff team, and the way that he's been battling his personal life up and down, as well. But it's gonna be Baker Mayfield, and then let's do that's three of them. I'm gonna go with in the receiving core right here. I'm gonna do Devontae Smith from Alabama, 2020 Heisman Trophy winner, who now plays for the Philadelphia Eagles. I want to
Yeah.
see what he does. How does he prep on a weekly basis for the NFL? As well. So that's four. Let's do Tim Tebow last, just because the Christian man that he is, and I love his passion, regarding the Lord, and definitely love his speeches as well. So let's go with Tim Tebow at number five.
Okay. All right. Um, Mine were kind of all over the everywhere. So my first honorable mention was, I mean, really one of the first quarterbacks that I ever really just enjoyed, loved, whatever, watching. Product of Florida State, and that's Charlie Ward. Charlie Ward was a quarterback that, man, he was just fun. To me, he was Michael Vick before there was ever a Michael Vick.
Same.
So much fun to watch. Could sling it, could run it, would juke you out of your shorts, but could also step on the hardwood and ball out on the basketball court too, man. So Charlie Ward was the guy that I really always enjoyed watching. Number two was OG.
Undrafted too, man. Like, how
Yeah.
was he not
Oh yeah.
drafted back in the
Exactly.
day?
Undrafted. OJ's my number two. Uh, Not talking about what he did off the field, not talking about that. Talking about what he did on the field. I think OJ Simpson's one of the best running backs of all time. Um, I just think it'd be kind of cool to sit down. I can't. I mean, look, I'm got to be honest with you. Would I ask him about that? You know, that night? Yeah, hell yeah, I would. Anybody would. But but would I also talk football with him? Heck yeah, I would. You know what I mean? I
That
mean, come
Ford
on now.
Bronco. Oh,
Anybody that
geez.
meets that man's gonna ask that. Come on now. Let's just be honest.
The
All right,
Ford
I know.
Bronco.
Hell yeah, I'd ask that. Come on now. Yeah. All right. So Archie Griffin, the only man to win 2 Heisman trophies, is my number five. I think Archie Griffin would just be so much fun to sit down and talk to. The game was completely different back then.
Hmm.
I would also like to talk to him about the way that he was recruited back then. How was it? How did the teams find out who you were? I had numerous questions to ask him. But Archie Griffin for sure is my number five. Number four is Steve Spurrier, man. Nothing better to me than the old ball coach, but would love to sit down and just talk to him about the way he played quarterback down there for the Gators. I would love to sit down and talk to him. Once again, recruiting. How, you know what I mean? Like recruiting. How did it go? Um, was there NIL before NIL back then? You know what I mean? Crap, coach. You've been out football 50 years. You can tell me. You know what I mean?
Gatorade.
Yeah, exactly. Stuff like that. But I mean, Spurrier, man, one of my favorite Spurrier moments. He was at South Carolina. He comes off the field. It's like this time of year. Comes off the field. The reporter asks him, how was practice? He was like, man, the quarterbacks can't hit the broadside of a barn. We can't make a field goal. Just the running backs just keep on with the football. He just goes on and on and on and on. I don't know. I don't know how we're going to win a scrimmage this year. I don't think we can even win a scrimmage against ourselves. I just keeps going on and on and on. At the very end, he goes, "How would you like it if a coach told you that?" It's just really funny. I mean, Spurrier's the best, man. I love Spurrier. Number three is RG3. Robert Griffin the third, man. One of
Love it.
my absolute favorites. Watching that guy just absolutely leave you at the quarterback position was absolutely so much fun in college to watch, man. And also, I would like to talk to him about some personal things, not personal things for me, but like personal things that's happened to him, like his NFL career. How did that affect him on a mental level? Things like that. I think Robert Griffin would be a lot of fun to sit down and talk with. Number two, um, Reggie Bush, man. Don't care if he's got the trophy or not. He won it. A lot of people in this state will argue that Darren McFadden should have won it. It's a valid argument. But I think when you look at it in that season, there was no more. Um, Reggie Bush was a freaking video game joystick, folks.
Hmm.
He could do things that other backs could. He could
Wasn't
also
that
push his
wonderful?
quarterback, folks.
Yeah.
That let's be honest. Had I talked about this last week, 2 weeks ago.
Hmm.
Had he not pushed, there is no USC Texas national championship game.
Right.
Think about that national championship game. Vince Young reaching the ball across the. I mean, just that game was iconic.
I predicted the score right for that game too.
Without him shoving old without him shoving old Matt Leinart in the butt, they're not there. Someone else is. So Reggie Bush is my number 2, and my number 1 is Baker Mayfield. Baker's my number 1, man. I'd love to talk about the plant. I really want to talk about his night up here in Fayetteville on Dixon, because I know exactly where he was tackled. Exactly where he was tackled. And I'll be honest with you, I want him to say, Dixon Street, it'll get you. That's what he told Colin Cowherd or Skip Bayless, whoever it was he talked to back in the day. But no, man, it was Skip. But I mean, to your point, John, the amount of maturity that he has done, I mean, from the little, Michael Jackson grab on the sidelines to who was at Kansas, I believe, or Oklahoma, Texas, whoever it was.
Those Kansas.
To the flag spike, to Dixon Street, and then the NFL. Everything that he's had to overcome in his career in the NFL. I think Baker Mayfield would be an awesome person to spend a day with, and I would really enjoy filming those commercials with him where he's in the stadium by himself, and he's got his little PJs on or whatever, and he's like, here, hello, and he's here. That'd be kind of cool to just be in an NFL stadium by yourselves, recording a interview too.
He won me fantasy last year too, so
there you go. We're the Sports Buffet. All right, presented to you by 4-Star Sports Media. Welcome. Hope everyone has enjoyed the show today. Not welcome to the show. Hope everyone has enjoyed the show today. All right, John. Time for the burning question as we wrap it up here, man. What stadium would you not want to visit in your first game as a head coach?
How about you go first on this one?
Mine would be okay. I've got a couple actually. Death Valley, that's Baton Rouge, Louisiana, folks. Not talking about Clinton. Death Valley, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at night. For sure. Okay.
Right.
Kyle Field, Texas A&M. I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't want to play at Razorback Stadium in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Because they're on top of you. When that place is rocking and they know that they've got you rattled, they are loud. Obviously, Michigan. I mean, good God, the Big House. I mean, I haven't experienced it, but I've been outside the stadium. I've seen the massive Florida State.
Right.
I don't think, John, you've been there. Ben Griffin, Florida.
Yeah. At night, too.
That place gets loud. As I was about to say, you were there at night, too. That place gets loud, man.
Yeah, you brought up some of mine also already, but
my bad.
No, you're good. But like you brought up, Michigan, Ann Arbor, night game there, Ohio State. Like, for example, let's just say you're the new coach at Ohio State, as first game as a head coach, and your first game as an interim or even a new head coach is in Ann Arbor, and you're an Ohio State coach. Wow. Yeah, you brought up. I want to go a little bit different, but still, Neyland Stadium. We still got 100,000 people.
Yeah,
still got people standing up in the lower level all around you. It's kind of like Kansas City Chiefs in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
You got all these people standing up around you in the lower level in Neyland, where nobody can really see on what's going on in front of you. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you brought up Florida, pretty common. But I'm gonna go West Coast here as one of them.
Mhm.
Fresno State.
Yeah. Heck yeah, man. The
You
Valley?
might, yeah, you might not see a packed house, but just to play in that valley, in that desert, and you really don't know what's going to happen regarding humidity, whatnot. So I'll go a different West Coast route and do Fresno State as one of them because Fresno State, heck, we've seen it. Fresno State plays tough at home for a reason.
Yep. 100%. And another one, and if it's a whiteout for sure, but Penn State,
Yep.
that place, and look, I'm working
Bucket
to,
list.
yes, dude. Oh, you just don't know. Like, I will paint my face, I'll paint my whole body white. I don't care. I want to do that. I want to jump around in that stadium in all white and go nuts. That would be a absolute blast. But John, this show's been an absolute blast today, man. I appreciate you coming on with me. I'll be back Friday night for a little nighttime buffet as we talk a little bit about wrestling as we would get the news today or earlier today that Linda McMahon would has reported that Vince McMahon's health is rapidly deteriorating. So we're going to talk a little bit about Vince McMahon from a business perspective, not from a what he did in his personal life perspective. We're staying away from that. Strictly business. Going to talk a little bit about Vince McMahon, WWE talk. We'll also get into more college football. We'll also get into some golf as we talk a little bit about the St. Jude tournament Thursday, preview Friday, talk Thursday, Friday, preview Saturday. Um, and we're going to do a lot more, man. Going to have a lot of fun. Sunday we'll be back for Over Under. Also, the Tigers Den. It's out right now on the website. Head over there now. We've got it posted up on our socials as well. Had a lot to talk about last night on the Tigers Den, as we did a show last night instead of tonight. Sorry, it's still posted today. It's all good. But no, thank you to everybody watching and listening. Appreciate John coming on. Hey, Ouachita Baptist fans, you've got a place right here where you can hear about your Tigers, and we yak about the GAC over here at 4 Star. So, hey, we call it the buffet for a reason, man. It's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but it's always a plate full of sports. So keep on tuning in, guys. This show's done really well for us. We appreciate everybody tuning in. Our growth is slowly just continuing to happen here at 4 Star Sports Media, and I've got a phone call that I've got to jump on. It's gonna be pretty exciting to be on, man. But John, I appreciate you coming on, brother.
All right, good one, man.
All right, man. Well, for Wes Pruitt and all of us here at 4 Star Sports Media, we say we appreciate it always. Stay classy, folks.